Yes. What's good, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Veterans Minimum. It's the preview show, NFC, AFC title games this weekend. My guy, ALLEN in the building. Falcons up. New head coach. New GM.
New era.
Let's go.
We got Arthur Smith, as my boy Chuck would say, the real life King of the Hill character. You just look at Arthur Smith, he looks like someone just popped out of a bar on King of the Hill. And then Terry Fanat coming back from the Saints, who said his son's favorite player is Julio Jones. So people thinking that Julio might get traded, I don't know. You can't disrupt the kids.
Yeah, you can't. You got to keep the kids happy, especially when you're at a new place right now. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But, man, we were talking a little bit before we started recording, and I have a little bit of a promo or a rant that I need to get off my chest. And how long have you been doing podcasts?
Well, I'm not going to say consistently. Consistently, it was from 2013 to 2017. Stepped away for a bit. Still did appearances here and there, but not until 2019 I started doing it consistently again.
Yeah, between like coming on here and then some of the other stuff you were doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you know the app Clubhouse, right? I think I sent you.
I got in.
Man, it's a great platform. It showcases a lot of things. But I think there is a big mistake that is being done in the world of podcasting from several conversations that I've heard, whether on Clubhouse, whether on meetings and interactions with different companies, and even ones that I've had with people that have reached out to me. There's over 1.5 million podcasts on Apple right now. That's only Apple, bro. Like, Rogan isn't on Apple anymore. He's a Spotify exclusive.
Yeah.
Why am I blanking on the rapper's name? Who's the rapper that had the podcast?
Joe Budden.
Joe Budden was a Spotify exclusive only. People are starting podcasts every single day. And immediately they want to make money. And I think that's a mistake. That's why people get discouraged. That's why people stop their shows. You know, of the 1.5 million podcasts on Apple, Allen, over 400,000 of them haven't done more than 20 shows.
Man.
So you're talking about
that's
like
a huge number.
That's, what is that? Give or take 30%, 40%-ish?
Yeah.
Right? So why does that happen? Because they go into this thing and immediately they think that they're going to start making money. I listen to some of these conversations, whether it's on Clubhouse and, again, some of the meetings that I have. And it's just like, man, you know, I want to get to a point, Alan, with the show where we can have conversations and we can reach a bigger audience, right? Like, ultimately, that's the big goal.
Right. But
it's to also not mislead people, because that can't be your approach when you're doing a podcast. Unless, and as it was funny because as we were having this conversation, you literally said what I tweeted out about being signed to a big network or a company.
Right. You have something that's backing you fully. That you're getting, weekly promotion. You got sponsors. Once you get that structure, you kind of then you have to really worry about is just content and just booking guests. You don't have to worry about the whole marketing side of it, because people underestimate how big the marketing side of this is.
I want them to look at us as the example.
Right.
Like, dude, even when I started doing VM in 2015, and then I had my own podcast on I had a wrestling podcast at Jerks. I had D-Generation Bets. And, bro, even when we started VM and the fan base was brought in from Joe, who had, like, influence and had his own thing, the numbers weren't the same as the ones that he was doing on his brand, because he was established and he already had his thing going on.
Right.
So even if you have influence, even if you have pull, that don't mean that those numbers are going to cross over, right? Like, we didn't make any money until about 2018. And that's 3 years later, bro. And to be honest with you, that was because we started a Patreon page.
Right.
So we technically weren't making money salary compensation wise. Right. It was all donations from fans. And yeah, you got incentives, you got extra shit and all that. Like, so there was a little bit of an exchange. It was an equal exchange. We gave you some extra shit. You gave us some money, right? But bro, we didn't make a single dollar off of that. And it was hard to market it then because sports is such a oversaturated market. And it's like you have to be willing to build it from the ground up. So when I hear people come in to some of those clubhouses, or if I hear people who I'm sitting in meetings with some folks, and it's like, man, you're giving out wrong information. You know what I mean? Like even with VM, bro, we're with Blue Wire, and now it's a part of a company, and I don't have that worry about getting ads and all that shit. And it's like, yeah, they're backing me, and they're fucking amazing. Just re-upped with them for another year. But it's like, when you're an independent, bro, you gotta be patient with it. You gotta take your time. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Right.
Like, I got lucky where I had the Patreon when the show split up, and I had the Patreon, so there was some money coming in to buy some cameras, buy some mics and shit and lights, and then Blue Wire came in a little bit after. So it's like, bro, it's going back to what you said about a company or a network backing you.
Yeah. People understand it's a huge process. It's not just a matter of, oh, we're going to do 3-4 episodes, immediately blow up. It's like, no, you have to be able to attract an audience. You got to give people a reason why they should invest 45 minutes, hour and a half, however long it may be, why they should do that. Whatever type of topic you're hitting on, whatever sorts of content you're putting out, I just don't think that's what they understand. It's like it takes a lot of a process. You can't just get on a mic and speak for 45 minutes and expect everyone to just absolutely adore your work. It's like, no, it's a build-up process. You actually have to strategically plan everything before actually going through with it. So I can understand your frustration, and because you just think with all the resources out there, people should be more informed. They shouldn't be delusional. And what you're seeing based on this conversation, there's a lot of delusion.
A lot of delusion, a lot of misleading information, a lot of trying to scam people into podcasting 101 starter kits and shit like that, and then you're paying them a fee.
When's the book coming out? Podcasting for Dummies.
Shit, we should start writing on that one. But dude, I've been blessed enough to have interactions with influencers and with some athletes. Like after I finish recording with them, and they'll ask about the podcasting space and whatnot. And I don't think too high of myself, right? Like everyone's their own harshest critic.
Absolutely.
Right? Like everyone's overcritical of themselves, but I've had people reach out to me and they're like, "Man, you got to stop thinking the way you do, because like you have thousands of episodes recording. Like this is your octagon. This is your domain." And the reason why I bring that up, man, is because you have no idea how many athletes, influencers start podcasts. I've interacted with them, and they get offended when they hear my numbers, because I don't have hundreds of thousands of followers. But it's like, it's no different from when you're working out, bro. Like if you go to the gym once every 2 weeks, you ain't gonna get no results.
No.
It's like you really gotta fucking buckle down and go to work. And I don't get mad at them, because they just don't know. You know what I mean? Like they don't know the whole process, and
they're uneducated.
We live in this era now where like the follower count is everything. But from people that I spoke to, they're impressed with how well the show does, and my following isn't bigger. It's like it doesn't correlate. So I don't know how to justify that, but it's just something where I think it's very misleading, man. And a lot of people have reached out to me about like podcasts and advice and tips, and it's like, yo, bro, when I do a podcast, Alan, I mean, you know this, I've told you this all the time, I fucking love doing these. I look forward to you pulling up. I'm like, it's a conversation Alan and I would have. I mean, you came over on Saturday
yeah.
and we were just chilling. You were like, yo, I wish you had a camera on you when I was talking about Antonio Pierce.
Oh, that play. Just this one tackle, NFC Championship. So I just don't want to say it's one tackle. It was a huge play, game-changing. And it was just back in 2008.
Yep.
And man, I just wish you had the camera on, because you were just so animated. You were just so excited to talk about this. And like, it's just cool because obviously with the Giants, not taking shots at them, but you haven't been able to, like that, just excitement, we haven't really seen that much of over the past, 4 years. So to see you relive that, and you just had the breakdown perfectly there. Like you still remembered it almost 13 years later.
Because you asked me about who like my favorite. Oh, it was about Strahan. Strahan
Right.
was on the TV, and you're like, "Yo, where's Strahan?" As like, he's like, "I'm not." You said I've never asked you this. Where's Strahan on like your?
Because he's everywhere
Giants?
now. Like,
Right. And I told you, I was like, he never really resonated with me because I really got into football, bro, around 2003, 2004, where I was able to understand things. Like, I knew what play action was and shit.
Which I find a little surprising because he didn't retire until 2008.
Yeah, he didn't retire until they won the Super Bowl. That was his
Yeah.
last game. But I really grew up with Tuck and Umanyora.
Right.
Those are my guys.
Then JPP came in.
And JPP came about. So I told you, I was like, dude, you know who I loved? Antonio Pierce. And then you're like,
Big thumper.
yo, big thumper. How did Washington let go of him? And then you're like, yo, do you remember the play against the Packers? And then that's when I just sat up. But man, it was in the first half of that game, dude. It was a screen pass, and he just broke 2 blockers. There was no one in front. Who knows how that would have went about? But I just want to wrap up with this little rant, and thank you for allowing me to shoot from the hip, as the wrestlers would say. But I just think it's not cool, man. It's not cool to be lying to people like that, because it takes a long time, and there's constantly going to be growth. There's constantly going to be
new trends
that you got to capitalize on. And you know, I've seen it with the studio, man. Getting this new studio space, so many more people have gravitated to the show and are interested in it, and the engagement is up. And it's like, because it's being looked at and taken more seriously.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's my TED Talk, folks.